Making good career choices is a big part of being successful. Knowing when it's time to pack up and leave can be the most important one. For Sebastian Vettel, he's never been very good at this. From his exit at Red Bull to his miserable time at Ferrari, Sebastian has never had the smoothest job changes. What made him cry in front of Christian Horner? And why was it a bad timing to move to Aston Martin? Stay tuned as we dive into how Vettel has been the unluckiest driver in Formula One. How to succeed in Formula One. If you're a young driver dreaming of making it to the top of motorsport, then there are a few things you have to think about. Firstly, you have to get some money to race in junior categories. In GP2, drivers have to pay approximately $750,000 just to get a seat. Either you are lucky enough to have a rich family, or you can land a sponsorship from elsewhere. For Sebastian Vettel, he was accepted into the Red Bull junior team when he was just 11. That's a good start because they helped fund his entry into Formula BMC, Formula 3, and Formula Renault 3.5. Secondly, you need to sign with the right team. Vettel did this with Red Bull. They sponsored him when he was still a kid and helped him all the way up to Formula 1. He had his first race with the BMW Sauber team before being given a spot at Toro Rosso. That's good news for any young driver because Toro Rosso is used as a testing ground for future Red Bull talent. In 2009, Vettel made it to the top of the Red Bull mountain. He'd been through the junior team, testing, and drove well for Toro Rosso. He drove better than well. He claimed the first win in Toro Rosso's history at Monza. Christian Horner and Helmut Marko were impressed enough with Seb's performance and promoted him to their senior team, Red Bull Racing. If there were any doubts about Vettel's commitment to Red Bull, the 2009 season removed them all. The glory years. When Vettel was at his best, he was unbeatable. He came second in the championship in his first year at Red Bull. He couldn't close the gap on Jenson Button, who had built up a huge advantage on the leaderboard with Ross Brawn's genius double diffuser innovation. It gave Bahrain GP almost a lap advantage, and by the time the other teams caught up, it was too late. But Sebastian wasn't going to let it happen the next year. The 2010 season was a four-way battle between Vettel, Fernando Alonso, Lewis Hamilton, and Vettel's teammate Mark Webber. Things got heated between the two Red Bull drivers, but it didn't slow young Vettel down. They collided on track at the Turkish Grand Prix and then off track when Red Bull gave Vettel the front wing from Webber's car. Webber thought that they were giving Seb preferential treatment, and he was right. The season was so hotly contested that there was a record of 10 different leadership changes throughout the year. The one driver who didn't lead the championship all year was Vettel, but he saved the best for last. He won 3 of the 4 last races and won the championship by 4 points over Fernando Alonso. After he crossed the checkered line, it was the only time the whole season that he led the world championship, but what a time to do it. The years after Vettel became unstoppable, he won the next 3 world championships with a combined total of 280 points. Once again, Alonso got close in 2012, but the other 2 years were won comfortably by Sebastian. He was now a 4-time world champ and one of the best of all time. Where to now? How much money did Ferrari have to pay to get Sebastian away from Red Bull? And what made him cry in front of Christian Horner? Don't go anywhere because all of that and more is coming right up. The downfall of Red Bull or the rise of Danny Rick? 2014 was Vettel's final season with Red Bull. After 4 years of success, it was time to give someone else a turn, and Mercedes were more than willing to be that someone else. They'd positioned themselves perfectly for the beginning of the turbo hybrid era and had developed an engine that no other team could match. Sebastian dropped down to 5th place in the Drivers' Championship, and he was convincingly beaten by his new teammate Daniel Ricciardo. Red Bull were not going to give him the 5th world title he was chasing, and so he decided to leave. This was a critical moment in his career, and if he was going to leave the team that raised him, he would have to think long and hard about where he might have future success. There were no positions open at Mercedes. They were on top of the world, and there was no way Lewis Hamilton or Nico Rosberg would give up their seats. So Vettel took it as a chance to join the team he had idolized since he was a little boy. It was the oldest and most successful team in Formula One, and they had promised him big improvements in coming years. It was, of course, Ferrari. Vettel had grown up watching his hero Michael Schumacher driving with the prancing horses, and now he'd be one of them. There had been reports as early as 2012 that Vettel might join Ferrari, and it was well known that he would take any opportunity to drive with them. He wasn't bitter about the breakup, and in fact, Red Bull boss Christian Horner said that Vettel was in tears when he told him the news. years. Was this a good career decision, or was he blinded by his desire to race with the red car? Broken dreams at Ferrari. Fernando Alonso had come agonizingly close to winning the World Championship twice with Ferrari, once in 2010 and again in 2012. Both times, he had lost out by a few points to Sebastian Vettel. So naturally, Ferrari felt that their best shot at winning a title was with the man who kept standing in their way. A couple of years and $200 million later, Sebastian was a Ferrari man. But Seb's time at Ferrari was a bit of bad timing and a bit of bad driving. He could only manage the 3rd and 4th place in the Drivers' Championship for his first couple of years with Ferrari, but after that, things improved. 2017 and 2018 got off to a better start. Vettel won some races in the first half of the seasons and even pulled away from Lewis Hamilton briefly. But in both seasons, his lack of consistency cost him dearly. He crashed into the barriers from a leading position in Germany. After 5 years, Ferrari felt that they had given Sebastian a fair shot at winning a title, but he never delivered. So instead, they put their plan B into effect. That plan was named Charles Leclerc, and he was one of the quickest young drivers in the world. Leclerc quickly outscored Vettel and showed everyone that he was the new #1 driver. Once again, Vettel was unlucky to face a teammate who was likely one of the best in the entire generation. It was enough to make people wonder if Sebastian was ever really that good? Really? He is a 4-time world champion. A new start at Aston Martin? If you can't beat them, join them. Vettel's time at Ferrari was overshadowed by the absolute dominance of Mercedes. With their top-of-the-range power unit, they overtook the opponents with ease and sailed off into the sunset. Vettel finally thought enough is enough and joined the dark side. After months of speculation about his possible retirement, it was announced that he had been signed with Aston Martin. Vettel would finally be powered by a Mercedes engine. His Ferrari woes might finally be over, and he could enjoy the sweet speed that his rival Lewis Hamilton had cruised to victory with. But once again, Sebastian's fortunes were against him. He joined the team that had previously been known as Racing Point, who had some great results. The 2020 car was dubbed the Pink Mercedes because of its blistering pace and similarity to the 2019 Mercedes car. Sergio Perez won the Russian Grand Prix and Lance Stroll won 2 podiums that year. So coming into 2021, Sebastian Vettel must have felt a glimmer of hope. He might not be fighting for world championships, but he would likely be the best of the rest after Mercedes and Red Bull. But apart from 2nd place at a chaotic Azerbaijan Grand Prix, Vettel's season was one to forget. He didn't score any points in 14 out of 22 rounds, and it certainly isn't getting any better. With the new regulation changes for 2022, Aston Martin has not adapted well. The biggest problem is the power unit, which is supplied by Mercedes. After years of watching Mercedes cars race off into the distance, Vettel had joined a Mercedes-powered team right when their performance collapsed. Maybe Sebastian has some bad karma he needs to deal with? His luck has been horrible for years. What do you think about Vettel's luck since he left Red Bull? Or is it Seb who's making mistakes? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.